Hello everyone, Britton here, and I am back for another one of these videos, I guess you could call it, what I read, my kind of reading wrap-up for the month of July. I've gotten some complaints recently that my audio is kind of quiet on my videos, and I've also noticed that, so I changed some of the settings on my camera. Let me know if the audio sounds any different. But today I am here to talk about the books that I read in July. To be fair to you guys, July was kind of a slow month for me. I kind of ran into a rut, and it wasn't fun. I'll put it that way. It had a lot of, well, there's a lot of twists and turns that it took. But I'm going to be talking about the books I read, the comics I read, and I'm even going to talk about some of the movies I watched in July. So yeah, it shouldn't be too long. Some of the because I didn't read too many actual books, but I did read a good couple comics. So yeah, can't believe it's August already. Anyway, let's get into this. The first book I'm going to talk about is a well-noted classic and one I read as a sort of palate cleanser because I was kind of in that rut during July, and that is Cormac McCarthy's No Country for Old Men. I know, fun stuff for the whole family. Um, and it's still very good. It's probably his tightest novel to date. It's probably a good one I would recommend starting with. I mean, this or The Road or maybe All the Pretty Horses. But yeah, No Country for Old Men is a very good book. I enjoyed it. I rewatched the movie. Still very good as well. It's much tighter than it's somehow even tighter than the novel. The novel has some moments that are stretched out, and there's some kind of weird. There are those kind of asides that Cormac McCarthy likes to do, but No Country for Old Men is still an excellent novel. It's more of like a mainstream thriller, but of course with that McCarthy touch, there's a lot of discussions about aging and disillusionment and existentialism and what how and ultimately like coping. How does one cope with evil in the world? And it's one that I've found relatable ever since I started, ever since I saw the movie, and ever since I read this book. It's really quite something. Yeah, this was not the first book I read or completed this year or this month or this last month, but I will say I read it, and I reread it again. It's very good, a rare reread from me. Next book I'm going to be talking about is one that I've been, told to go read for a long time, and that is Ted Chiang's, or Chang's. Sorry if I butcher your name, but Stories of Your Life and Others from Ted Chiang. And this is a book I've wanted to read for a while. I know Jimmy at the Fantasy Network really enjoys it. I know, excuse me, Bookborn really enjoys it. I have some other friends who really enjoy this book. And I read it alongside my friend Jason. He's a good dude. It's the second book I chose that actually won. And so, yeah. And I'll admit this book didn't blow my mind like some people have told me. But I liked it. I thought there was some good stuff in here. It's certainly no Bradbury or Edgar Allan Poe or anything like that. But it is very good. And Story of Your Life, of course, was my favorite story in this. It was just so good, very sad, but also very funny too. There's also a lot of great just ideas in this that are explored that I thought were really interesting. I also really enjoyed Hell is the Absence of God. That was a great story, though Jason disagreed. But yeah, I'll link Jason's read along series down below if you want to check that out. If you ever do want to read this book and want to read it along with somebody, Jason did it, and yeah, good stuff. But yeah, check. I did like Stories of Your Life, but I didn't love it like some people said that I probably would. But I'm definitely going to check out his other collection at some point, whenever I get around to that. So yeah. The last actual, prose novel that I read was from my boy China Mieville, but it was Embassy Town from him. This was part of my summer readathon, and sadly, kind of a disappointment. It was. I'll admit this was probably one of the most unpleasant reading experiences I've had this year. Be all honest with you. Like I started this, I was in Arkansas, and this was right around the time I was getting into my rut. So maybe I didn't give this book a fair chance, but I just started reading this, and there was just something off about it. I can't really put my finger on it, but it was really tough to sit through. And there are a lot of interesting ideas in this novel about language and how we relate to language and how language relates to culture. But again, I couldn't really emotionally connect to it. Again, I sound like fucking Jason right now. Anyway, I'm sure he'll be very pleased with that. But yeah, no, it's kind of sucks because Mieville has certainly proven himself to be a brilliant writer with great books like Perdido Street Station or The Scar, even The City and the City, which I actually want to reread at some point. But yeah, Embassy Town, not good. I didn't love it. It might be my least favorite Mieville book right now. It's very hot or cold, and it's just I just didn't love it. Sorry, Mieville. I know that a lot of people do enjoy Embassy Town, and I mean, go read it. I'm not saying don't read it, but this is probably one of the bigger disappointments I've had this year, and it sucks because I was really looking forward to reading this book. Um, but yeah, that was really the last book that I got on here for now. Um, so yeah, now we're going on to comics. This will be fun. First comic I'll be talking about is I continued Descender this month or this last month. Um, Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. I have to say, what the fuck is going on with these pages? What's up with these pages? Anyway, um, yeah, no, I enjoyed this. I thought it was really, I don't, I enjoy it. I still have some issues with it. Like I have some issues with the pacing, but again, Jeff Lemire has a talent for capturing characters and stories, and he really gets character voice very well. And Dustin Nguyen's art, oh my god! I mean, the art style in this is just incredible. I mean, look at that. Look at this. Look at that. That is just, look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful artwork. You put that shit in a museum. Look at that. Look at that. That's some beautiful art right there. Put that in a museum. I'm telling you right now. It's like look, they're kissing. It's beautiful. It's just oh man. But yeah, Descender is a really good comic. I think is or I should say it's a solid comic. Again, I have issues with the pacing. And this volume was more like short stories following the like past of the characters, which was good. I didn't mind it, but it was some good stuff. Um, but yeah, it's a good comic. I enjoy it. It's not one of my favorite Lemire comics right now, though. Speaking of that, I finally conducted the reread slash my completion of Jeff Lemire's Black Hammer, which is his take on the superhero genre. Hot, spicy take here for a minute. This might be our generation's Watchmen. This is so good. I can't even put it to words how much I enjoyed reading this comic series. It's got such heart, such imagination behind it. Lemire and Lemire and Dean Ormston really captured something special here. And I really like Ormston's art style. It's very much like, hold on, that's a sex scene right there. Don't want to get too much into that. Like his art style very much has that kind of Jack Kirby blockiness, but it's also like Frank Quitely's artwork as well. It's very very good stuff. But why do I call it? Why do I suggest that it might be this generation's Watchmen? Well, like Watchmen, this is probably one of the few comics I have read that really captures that really explores the medium of comics. As much as this is a superhero story, it is also a comic about comics and the history of comics. Now, I wouldn't recommend this comic for like first time readers or anything because it's filled with a bunch of references and you know Easter eggs that a lot of people would that's kind of engaging for nerds. But it's also just a great story. I mean, I will admit it does get a little. Some people now, my friend Carlos from StoryTube does say the ending is a bit rushed, but I liked it. I thought it was a very good ending, at least for this first initial series. Um, I will admit that the first two volumes I thought were were a lot stronger than like the final ones, but the ending was very good. And Jeff Lemire, man, he's so good. This might be one of my favorite things he's done, aside from like Sweet Tooth, which I've already covered on this channel. Maybe I'll review Black Hammer at some point. I might even have a discussion. I'm thinking about getting Carlos on here for a discussion if it's possible. But yeah, Black Hammer is just a wonderful comic. I love it. I think it's a great story with great characters. It's just the characters are really what make this work so well, and it's just a beautiful story, I think, and I think a lot of people need to read it and read it as soon as possible. Like run out from your house and go get it. It really is some good stuff. Next comic I'm going to be covering is I continued Ed Brubaker's and Sean Phillips's Criminal. I did The Dead and the Dying. This was pretty good. It kind of shows the origin story of several characters who reoccur in Criminal, like Sebastian Hyde, the bartender guy, the the guy who runs that underground, kind of John Wickish, except like more realistic and like shadier than the Continental. Um, Also talks about one of the Lawlesses, who are characters in the Criminal series. Very good. Once again, the art and just the storytelling prowess of both Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips is just matched by very few. Um, Sean Phillips' art, I love the shadows. I mean, look at that. Well, I mean, look at the shadows on this. It's so good. It's so good. It's just some good stuff in this. And Criminal is very much well worth the read. I do recommend you guys check it out. So yeah. Final comic that I read this month was one from a favorite of mine, and that is Robert Kirkman. I covered Firepower by him with illustrations from Chris Samney of Daredevil fame. I wasn't a fan of his Daredevil run, but it was not Chris Samney's fault by any means. His art in this is fantastic. Now, admittedly, this is a bit more like a backstory thing, um, Robert Kirkman is just so good at creating fun characters and stories, and he also has a great eye for artists. I mean, Chris Samney's art in this is so good. I mean, hold on. Let me show you some examples. This. Like, look at that. Look at that. Oh, man. Just, yeah, take a shot every time I say look at that. But, I'm being serious. Look at this artwork. It's so good, and, like, people should appreciate it. Like, look, that is glorious, if you ask me. Chris Samney. Great fucking artist. Um, but yeah, I enjoy Firepower. I thought it was pretty good. I'm definitely going to continue with the series when I find the time, of course. But yeah, no, Firepower, good stuff. Check it out. I also watched a couple of movies this July. I first started out with the new Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And I am happy to say that it's no Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It very much captures that Indiana Jones kind of spirit, where he's often getting out by the skin of his teeth. But it was okay. It didn't really blow me away. I mean, in all honesty, I would have just preferred ending it with the Last Crusade, but it is what it is. Harrison Ford. It was actually nice seeing Harrison Ford being passionate about his work for once in his life, because seems like he's been just like phoning it in for the past how many years. I then watched The Sword of Doom. My buddy Raymond was begging for me to watch Sword of Doom from I can't pronounce the director's name. I actually have it over here. Let me just pull it out real quick. Yeah, I got the Criterion Collection version of the Sword of Doom. I think that this is a pretty solid movie. And I didn't even recognize earlier that the guy who plays the main character in this movie is the same guy who played Hidatora in Ron. If you've ever seen that, it's my favorite Kurosawa movie, at least right now. I really enjoy that movie. But, that guy has a lot of range, though, because the main character he plays in this is terrifying in this film. Apparently it was supposed to um, be like a part of a trilogy, but it just never took off. But this was pretty good. I enjoy it, though there are some bits at the end of the movie that kind of don't come together. So yeah, it's just kind of how it goes. Um, Another movie I saw, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One. I said this in a written thing I had done for work, but I would like to say that the Mission Impossible films are basically the new James Bond films. Like they have that same over the top insanity that like the old Bond movies had before they became a little more grittier. Um, Fun film, really enjoy it. Tom Cruise, man, gotta respect that guy's work ethic, even if he does follow a crazy freaking religion. Um, Rest of the cast is pretty good. Um, yeah, no, good movie. I enjoyed myself. Last film I saw in the month of July was Oppenheimer from Christopher Nolan. After Tenet, I was starting to fear that Christopher Nolan was starting to lose his touch as a director. I was like, oh no. Hope he doesn't go into those directors who kind of just loses their spark and just starts putting out shitty movies. But I am happy to say that Oppenheimer was not a shitty film. It was actually a very good movie. I didn't watch Barbie, so don't put any freaking Barbieheimer memes in the comment section. I didn't watch it. I don't plan on watching it. I'm not against the movie or anything. It just doesn't seem like something that would appeal to me. But Oppenheimer was pretty good. Definitely wasn't my top favorite film of that month, but it was pretty good. Definitely shows that Nolan still got it. I mean, he replicated a nuke with a bunch of like explosives, and that was very eloquent. But nonetheless, you gotta admire Christopher Nolan's work ethic and his insistence on keeping as much of the stuff he does in his films practical as possible. Um, yeah, no, I thought Oppenheimer was a great film. I saw it with my dad. I barely understood any of the science jargon that was in the film, but Nolan does it just enough where you could understand what was going on, like you could understand the gist of what they were doing without having to overly explain it. I really hate when people say this, but I guess I have to be a hypocrite here for a minute. They don't really make movies like this anymore. This film felt like something that would have been right at home in the 60s or 70s during like the new Hollywood era of movies. There's a lot of like really quick, fast-paced dialogue, very strong performances from Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt. We even see Benny Safdie in this film from the Safdie brothers. He was also very good in this film. He's a very good actor as well as a director. But I digress. Um, what else did I enjoy? There's a lot of he packed a lot of people into this movie. Like you got like Jason Clarke, Gary Oldman even shows up in a scene. Oh man, who else shows up? Let me look on the letterboxd here. Um, see, Matt Damon. I forgot to mention him. Matt Damon was very good in this movie. Josh Hartnett. Where has that guy been? I haven't seen that guy in a long time. David Dastmalchian. I probably pronounced that name wrong. I apologize. Dane DeHaan's in this movie. Where was he at? The guy from Ghost who plays the asshole best friend. He's in this film. There's a lot of people in this movie. Matthew Modine's in it. I mean, it is crazy. Casey Affleck shows up. A lot of actors coming out of hibernation in this movie, like Casey Affleck, Josh Hartnett, and like who did I just mention? I just mentioned Josh Hartnett. Florence Pugh's in this movie, which, but but anyway, yeah, really good movie. And I mean, if you don't think that, do you think that Robert Downey Jr. can just play like the smartass? Do you think like that's the only character he can play? Watch this movie. He is fantastic in it, and he does very well as the kind of slimy, you know, politician. He does it very well. Yeah, Oppenheimer is very good. I didn't get as much. I said this a few times, but I didn't get as much existential angst as I thought I would. But yeah, no, it was it was still, it was very good. Cillian Murphy, man, underrated actor. I still need to see Peaky Blinders, by the way. But yeah, that's basically all I got for this month. Hopefully, this upcoming month will be a much better reading month. I have a good feeling it will be. I just completed The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, which was awesome. Definitely can't wait to talk about that on here. I'm definitely going to be starting some other books. I'm reading Suttree right now, so that's going to be fun. And I'm also going to start Hollow from Brian Catley. I know Jason's going to love that. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check me out on Twitter. Check me out on Goodreads and Letterboxd, where I write reviews that are probably more coherent than the one you just heard right now. And Discord. My Discord works finally. You can click on the link, come join, come talk to me, please. I'd love to hear from you guys. And comment down below, like the stuff, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, all right? You know what to do. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.